Hey guys, it's Paul from Online Sax Academy. In today's lesson, we're looking at how we can use chord tones as well as our blues scales when we're improvising on the blues. Now, if you're new to improvising, don't worry, I'm going to explain exactly what chord tones are. And even if you're a bit more experienced, I'm going to be giving you tips and showing you how you can use these chord tones to sound really melodic. To start off with, we'll do a brief recap of how you can use blues scales. The most common type of blues scale, which is often just referred to as the blues scale, is the minor blues scale, which consists of the root, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, fifth, and flat seventh. Now this is a really common set of notes to start with when you're beginning to learn how to improvise, because you can use those set of notes to improvise over the whole 12-bar blues form. And that's really great in the beginning because it allows you to focus on playing with good rhythm and time, focusing on your phrasing, putting things into nice 2-measure phrases as you go through. All of these things make improvising with that simple blues scale sound really good. Now the next level up is you can start to introduce what's called the major blues scale when you're on the 1 chord. And this is created by using the 1st, 2nd, flat third, 3rd, 5th and 6th degrees. And this blues scale has more of a brighter sound to it. And you can play phrases like this. Now, one thing that can really elevate your improvising is when you start to become aware of the chords you're playing on and the chord tones that make up those chords. In these basic 12-bar blueses, all the chord types are known as dominant sevenths, which means we have the 1, major third, 5th and flattened 7th. So the first thing you should do is memorize those 3 chords that apply to your 12-bar blues. Now you can think of those sets of chord tones as almost like mini scales. They're just like 4-note scales. So when you're on, say, a D7 chord, you only improvise with the notes of the D7 chord tones. So a great exercise you can try is to play phrases that start on different chord tones. So for example, you can try phrases that start on the 3rd, like this. Or this one that starts on the 5th. It's also great to focus on the ending of your phrases as well. So for example, you can try ending your phrases on the root note like this. Another more advanced technique is to move to the nearest chord tone as one chord changes to the other. In this example phrase, the last note of that G7 chord is the flat 7, F, and then we slide up a semitone to an F sharp as the chord changes to D7, and so we go to the major third on that D7. And that creates a really nice effect and sounds like this. Now, one of the best things you can do is to improvise through a 12-bar blues using these chord tones with some of those tips we were talking about. So coming up now, we've got an example solo where I'm only using the chord tones. Once you feel confident doing a chord tone solo, it's then great to add back in the use of those major and minor blues scales. For example, in this first phrase, I do the first 2 measures with chord tones and then I switch to the major blues scale. In the next 4 measures, what I'm doing is starting with the minor blues scale, so the D minor blues scale for alto saxes, or the G minor blues scale for tenor saxes, and that as the chord comes back to the 1 chord, I switch back to just improvising with chord tones. The final 4 measures of a blues is a great place to really use these chord tones, particularly as you go from chord 5 to chord 4. You can do a trick where what you play on the chord 5, you copy it into chord 4. So you can see here I'm going 3-5-1 at the beginning of the measure, and then I also go 3-5-1 at the beginning of the measure on the 4 chord. And then at the end, I'm actually using the minor blues scale on that 1 chord. Remember, you can use the minor blues scale over any part of the blues. I only use it for 1 measure, and then the very final measure, I'm coming back to the chord tones and ending with 3-1. So coming up now, we'll play through this example solo where we're now mixing the approaches between using chord tones and using blues scales. Now, if you want to go deeper and learn more about improvising, over at Online Sax Academy, I have a course that steps you through right from the very beginning. And if you become a premium member at Online Sax Academy, you'll have access to this course, as well as all the other courses and resources on the site. And don't forget to grab the free PDF of these 2 example solos as well. And for this lesson, premium members have both those example solos transposed for all 12 keys. So if there's a blues in a certain key you want to practice, you've got those there. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.